There's a moment in every relationship that almost no one notices when it happens. It's not loud, there's no fight, no final conversation. And that's exactly why it hurts so much later. Because by the time you feel it, it's already been decided. Most people think relationships end when someone walks away. But the truth is, they usually end long before that. Quietly, subtly, in ways that are easy to miss if you don't know what you're looking for. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Most women believe they would notice if a man stopped fighting for them. But psychologically, that's not how it works. Because when someone slowly disconnects, your brain doesn't register it as loss right away. It tries to protect you. So instead, you explain it. He's just stressed. He's busy. He'll come back. And for a while, that feels believable. But here's the part that changes everything. By the time a man stops fighting for you, he's already made that decision internally. You're not watching the moment it happens. You're watching what comes after. It usually starts with something small, a conversation. You bring up something that matters to you. Maybe you say, I feel like we haven't really been connecting lately. And instead of leaning in, instead of asking questions, instead of trying to understand, he just says, yeah, I get that. And then, nothing. No follow-up, no effort to fix it, no curiosity. And on the surface, it doesn't look like rejection. But something important just changed. Because when someone is still fighting for you, they don't just hear you. They move toward you. And when that stops, that's where it begins. And if you think that's the moment, it's not. Because what happens next is even more telling. Then something else starts to happen. You bring things up again. Not dramatically, just small things. Can you text me when you get home? Can we spend a bit more time together? I just want to feel a little closer to you. And in the beginning, he tried. Maybe not perfectly, but he tried. Now, nothing changes. Not because he didn't hear you, not because he forgot, but because he's no longer trying to meet you there. And this is the moment where a lot of women get confused. Because instead of seeing it clearly, they turn it inward. Maybe I'm asking for too much. Maybe I should just relax. But effort doesn't disappear randomly. It disappears when someone stops seeing the need to invest. And that's when something deeper is already shifting. And then, something strange happens. Things feel quieter, less tension, less conflict, less arguing. And part of you almost feels relieved. You think, maybe things are getting better. But this is where it gets confusing. Because before, he would explain himself. If something felt off, he would try to reassure you. Now, you ask, why have you been distant? And he just says, I don't know. I'm just tired. Short answers, closed energy. And it doesn't feel like a fight anymore. It feels like distance. And this is the part most people misunderstand. Silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes, it means someone has already stepped back. If you've made it this far, just drop a in the comments. You don't have to explain anything. I'll understand. Because what comes next is usually the moment where everything starts to feel personal. This is where it shifts. From him to you. You start thinking, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I just need to be easier. So you pull back. You say less. You need less. You try to be simpler to love. But here's the truth. You didn't suddenly become too much. You just became aware that he stopped meeting you at the same level. And instead of questioning that, you started questioning yourself. And that's the moment where you slowly begin to disappear, just to keep the connection alive. But a connection that requires you to become smaller is already breaking. And then, there's the moment most people never actually see. It's not when he leaves. It's not when he says, "This isn't working anymore." It's much earlier than that. It's the moment he stops trying to keep you. When he no longer feels urgency to fix things. When he no longer feels the need to show up differently. When the thought of losing you doesn't create action anymore. That's the moment, and it's quiet, almost invisible. But once it happens, everything after that is just distance catching up. Now listen carefully. This moment is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of his capacity. Because someone who truly values you doesn't slowly drift away and hope you won't notice. They lean in. They try. They adjust. They fight for the connection. So if you're seeing these signs, this isn't your moment to try harder. It's your moment to see clearly, to stop over-explaining, to stop over-giving, to stop convincing someone to choose you, because the right person doesn't need to be convinced to stay. I'm curious, have you ever felt that moment where something shifted, but you couldn't fully explain it at the time? Not when it ended, but when it quietly changed. You don't have to go into detail, but if this made something click for you, just leave it below. And one more thing. Once you've seen this, you start noticing it everywhere. Not just in relationships, but in how people show up, or slowly stop showing up. And if you've ever struggled to let go of someone, even when you know they're not right for you, you need to watch this next video. Because it explains the real reason you can't stop thinking about someone you can't have, and why that feeling can be so hard to break. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.